such an asshole.
Hello, children. AssholeConsulting.com. If you have questions, Cappy's got answers. Let's go forth in 2021 to prevent a couple thousand people every year from making life-crippling decisions and choices that their parents told them to make and their teachers. I just would like, can I just go viral? Can we all just, hey, look, there's a pissed off Gen X guy. Oh, isn't that funny? Hey, he gives us old man wisdom. You know, remember the millennials? Yeah, that corpse, they're just wreathing in pain because but there was an old guy. Look at the funny old man on the internet. Oh, he's also right about a lot of things too. God bless him. And then my books would make billions of dollars, of which I don't know what I'd do with billions. I do a lot. Do a lot of charity. Surprisingly, I know this may shock you, some charities would get a lot of money. I'd frankly pay for a bunch of my friends' stuff. Like, here, your house is paid off. Yeah, now we can go have beers. Okay, you don't have to work no more. Relax. Pay for some kids' ways through college, but good degrees. I wouldn't give them no money unless they're a good degree. All right, that's not what we're here. We have a lot of questions. If you have questions and you have a lot of money, you go to assholeconsulting.com and hire this wonderfully good-looking man to answer. Don't you trust this face? Don't you trust me? Look at him. He's this guy on the internet who wears his pajamas at 10:45 a.m. Hi, Cappy. Hope you haven't died from the flu. Team Blue Rubber Band. Yes. Please keep me anonymous. I'm finishing up driving around the Western United States. I also accepted an offer for a remote master's in geology at an accredited state school. Since tuition is free for me and its living stipend is paying for my road trip expenses. There you go. Look at you. Yes, you're doing it. Okay, good. That's a good opportunity. Thus far, I like Colorado and Utah the best. Colorado is unfortunately a blue state, but it has more jobs and less Mormon strictness than Utah. Yeah, but I've never been bothered by that Mormon culture. It's slightly inconvenient. Like, no, you have to have you can't have a double drink. You have to have a single in order. You have to pay cash. There's other eccentricities, but if you go to, different towns like Price, Vernal, they're not that tight in different little towns. In Colorado, kind of the same thing. Yeah, Denver. I still love Denver. I know it's a leftist Marxist shithole. I got it, guys. There's bad traffic, but I still enjoy Denver. Even though Colorado's blue, I mean, they got a good school there, a lot of mining. So don't let it be blue or purple determine whether or not you take a job or not. Go to where the money is. It's even why I recommend, if you can get into an investment bank, go work at Goldman Sachs. If you can work for Google, go work over in Silicon Valley. But I wouldn't do it for more than 2 years. Get your experience to get out. That said, I like both, and living in either would allow me to explore the West in detail, living in a relatively mild winter outdoorsy state. If I had to choose, I'd recommend Utah. Like, if you can get to St. George, Utah, then you're only 2 hours away from Vegas. Alvaro's best Mexican food ever. All right, so you have a bunch of questions. All right, military versus keep applying. I've been sending out Indeed applications for these two states in all geology fields since May, but thus far no luck. Well, yeah, it's also because of the Wuhan flu. I'll have finished my master's in geology in 2021 of April. Okay, well, maybe you got to have your degree by that time. If I can't secure a geology job in the next few months, I'm considering enlisting or commissioning for the United States military reserves or active duty. If you can't find a job and you got a master's degree in geology, I'd just join full-time. Military branch selection. The Army Corps of Engineers seems to be the best fit for a geologist, correct? Army position 12Y, geospatial engineer, would have me making maps using GIS on a stationary base with top secret clearance. By contrast, the Navy or Coast Guard would have me on a boat or a port and doesn't have any geology-related roles. The Marine Corps is the most combat-facing and also doesn't have any geology-related roles. The Air Force seems like the fanciest branch. They are very fancy, very pretty, very pretty. I got a buddy he might make full colonel. I'm getting that old. I know a guy who might be a full bird colonel. And he's the most not here. Oh, yeah. Like, he couldn't care about his rank. They just keep promoting him, which is exactly the type of guy you want. Like, oh, yeah. I remember, because he was a small guy. we went on base, and these big MP dudes, well, they weren't MP, they were Air Force police, with these saluted him and like right at, and he's like, oh yeah, hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, I'm like a lieutenant colonel. Yeah, all right. It's kind of cool. You can, huh? Oh yeah. Oh, all right. But he's chair force, yes. Air Force seems to be the fanciest branch. It seems to attract the highest IQ people, but its geology roles are limited to the 1N1X1 geospatial intelligence role. We analyze Army Corps of Engineers, dude. That's just because then it'll go on your resume, and then you obviously want to be a geologist. You're getting your master's in it, for God's sake. I think geology is cool. You know, you guys know me and my fossil collecting and my agate hunting. I just like rock hounding in general. And being out west, it's also going to be one of the better things you can be employed by. A lot of mining in Nevada and Utah and Colorado, all over the place. Absolutely. So I go with the Army Corps of Engineers. That would be the most obvious. Officer versus enlisted / warrant. Position 12Y, geospatial engineer in the Army is an enlisted position only. Enlisted recruits are more technical, get paid the least, and are lowest ranked, and can't choose their first base, but they can guarantee their type of job. Enlisted recruits can also become warrant officers after a few years of experience in a specific job. In this case, after a few years, I'd be promoted to 125D warrant officer, geospatial engineering technician. I could achieve a higher rank than all enlisted recruits, a lower rank than all commissioned officers, and earn slightly lower pay than similar tiered commissions. All commissioned officers get paid the most in our highest rank, but they also can't choose where they're stationed, trade, technical work, or administrative, cannot guarantee. Yeah, look, okay, if you're going to join the military, join it. Don't be finicky. Don't have requirements, all right? If you're going to join, you're their bitch, all right? And that way you're going to get the most out of it. Right, they're going to send you here. They're going to send you there. It's going to suck. I had a buddy. He was stationed in the south of Italy. He got to ride a motorcycle around. It was wonderful. He enjoyed it. He was happy as punch. All the Italian girls loved him because he was a Scandinavian-looking dude. He had the American accent. All the girls loved him. And then he got transferred to North Dakota somewhere, and that's the way the ball bounces. Just go in as an officer, get your money, get the highest rank, get the highest pay. You're going to have a master's degree. They're probably going to, I don't think they're going to not put your skills to use. They'll probably have you within your field, because they're going to look at you and like, well, we're not going to send him. He's not going to do guard patrol. I'm not going to have him like, clean the latrines. Well, you're going to have to clean the latrines when you're in basic, but so I go with the officer. Reserve versus active duties. The reserve fall branches train you at basic and in your specific job. After that, you only attend military training a weekend per month for 2 weeks, once a year, for 6 years at lower pay than active duty with limited benefits. By contract, after active duty is 24/7 lifestyle for at least 3 years, higher pay. By joining as part of the reserves, lets you in job and location, where you're working in game, pay for part-time work. Yeah, and you can get called up. And up in a base in Louisiana or Afghanistan. Here's what I would do. If you're not getting a job offer, start with reserves or National Guard, start part-time. But if you're not finding a job, then re-up for full-time. So start part-time now, because it's at least 4 months until you graduate. And who knows, maybe you'll get a great job. Then you got your toe in the reserves in the military, but you're not committed full-time. But then if all of a sudden, April comes and goes and there ain't no job offers, then I'd go full-time active duty. Don't worry, geology will still be there for you, the military one. Girlfriend, I'm in a relationship that nearing a year. Positive. She's thin, eats healthily, and exercises, is really nice to me, enjoys extracurricular activities more frequently than I do, provides interesting conversation, doesn't want to have kids, doesn't have tattoos, lets me lead, and even cooks for me sometimes. Does she have a sister? Negative. She's in her early 30s and, like most millennials, still suffers from lingering leftist ideologies such as feminism, globalism, voting for Biden, etc. The difference is that she does listen to my points and has already changed some of her views, such as growing out her hair and appreciating American freedom more. I don't think she'll move from the city we both are in unless we move together to a new state, Utah, Colorado. If I join the military, I probably have to forego this relationship. It's long-term, long-distance, statistically almost guaranteed to fail. Then again, I'm almost also hesitant to move in together with any relationship. So I like need to forgo the relationship anyway, especially since Colorado and Utah both recognize common law marriage. Yeah, I would. I mean, it's only a year, and she's a leftist, feminist, globalist. I know you like, oh, these are the positives. Maybe there's a traditional girl in there. I don't know. Once you say she's, your standard cookie cutter millennial, she voted for Biden, she's feminism, globalist. No, I can't. I don't know. Maybe you guys can date someone of a different political stripe. It just irks me that someone is voting against my own and our own, if we were to be married, financial and freedom interests. I just can't. And when you are, oh, wow, you're a Democrat girl who's like for feminism. Wow, how basic bitch. How fucking utterly common and boring. Now, you do mention that she has interesting conversation, which is good. But you're kind of, you're not stable yet, dude. I don't know if you should even be thinking about marriage or anything like that. If she was like, oh, she's traditional and she loves this, she'll go with me anywhere. This sounds more like a gal who's kind of like, well, I'm going to go. If you voted Biden, I understand you don't vote Trump either. All right. I'm not a big fan of Trump, but no, you can put that on hold. You can end that. Maybe revisit, say, oh, later on, maybe we'll revisit it. Extra question, used car buying. Is it better to buy a used Kia Rio or a used Toyota Corolla or Honda Civic? Seems that the Corolla or the Civic will have a lower cost over time than the Kia Rio because they would have lower repair costs and maintenance time costs, and they last longer than the Rio. I'll tell you this about my Rio. It was so cheap, and there were so not any things on it. Like there were no luxuries. That was very easy to work on. So the repair costs were actually quite cheap. Hondas are a little bit more expensive. Toyota Corollas are the most reliable car in America. But I had no problem with the Kia Rio. None. I'd do your maintenance, but at about 180,000, it's going to be done. You're going to put it away and put it to the scrapyard. I know you advocate for buying two shitty cars with liability insurance only, but it seems more prudent to buy a used reliable car with collision comprehensive liability insurance. Well, you do what you want. While maintaining it for as long as possible, instead, like removing the collision and comprehensive when you can easily afford to replace it a few times over. You do what you want. And I don't know, everyone ignore my book that I wrote. That's okay. Extra question, home versus stocks and bonds. Is it better to use one's income to pay down the mortgage of a small 2-room condo or home quickly, the second room being rented, or invest all the surplus money in a diversified index portfolio? If I knew the answer to that, I'd be a billionaire. Because like, oh yeah, stocks are going to go up by this percent. Housing won't. I don't know. There's pros and cons to each. Now, me personally, I would always throw in your money to the tax deduction level or a match level. So you maximize that in your 401k or IRA. And then if you have a little bit of extra money, all right, well, you've thrown some money into the stock. I'm always paying off debt. I always like paying off debt. I'm pro pay off your debts. It depends also on the interest rate too. But and stocks go up and down. So I can't tell you what to do. I know your stocks and bonds are easier to invest in. They're diversified, but paying off your interest. No one's gone bankrupt paying off their debts early. No one. So you're doing either is long term. I mean, don't worry. Your stocks are going to go down. Your bonds are going to go down in value, but and over time they'll be inflated up. They'll go up over the long term, very likely. No guarantee. Money invested in a traditional IRA for tax deductible in addition to the standard $12,000 deduction, whereas mortgage interest and property are deductible only if they exceed the standard $12,000. I suppose one could max a traditional IRA and then throw any remaining money into fast tracking the condo. So yes, max out your 401k, get the tax deductions there. That's what I would do. But the amount you save on lowered interest payment or even eliminating PMI insurance is probably still lower than the amount you can expect. Well, I mean, what you got property mortgage insurance? I'd pay down that right there. I'd get rid of that as quickly as possible. If you could pay it down so you got a 20% position in the house, you don't need property mortgage insurance anymore. That's what I would do. Third option is simply rent a cheap room as you fund a savings account to eventually buy the small 200 cash, forgoing the opportunity cost of investing those savings. Fourth option, God almighty, dude. Here's something you guys have to do. Paralysis analysis. Oh, millennials, you all need to be punched in the face. Knock it off. Stop hyperanalyzing every possible fucking evaluation and not that's gonna, like, I'm not saying be reckless in your decision making either, but okay. All right. Got all your options here now. Okay, right, got it. Fourth option is rent a cheap room, investing in savings in a non-retirement account, and eventually selling the investment as well as long-term capital gains when you're ready to purchase the home outright. Do you own a house or not? If I were you and a bachelor, what I would do, and it sounds like you're a bachelor, you have no, I would live as cheaply as possible renting. I would not buy a house. But I would save up money for a house that, like, you could pay cash for it, or you save up so much that when you put the down payment on the house, your mortgage is significantly less than you'd pay in rent. And yeah, man, you can rent it out, the room. And if you're a single man, you don't have family or kids, I would always rent out rooms. I mean, that's how I got to where I am, where I rented out rooms to other people. Always had rental property. I couldn't afford the house on my own. So that's what I would do. So there you go. Okay. We have that done. All right. Any super chats? We got a $5 super chat. David Goodman for $5. That's it. Thanks, Dave. No question or anything like that. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.